So welcome once again, folks at home, to another episode of Wiki Weekend, a series where I, your host for this week, Karl Smallwood, alongside my co-host, Lucas Holland.
Hello there.
Find a wiki from somewhere on the internet and go through it to see what kind of discussion it elicits. And today we're talking about, Lucas, a show that I think shaped just an entire generation of young men. Jackass.
God.
So, Lucas, let's just get it right off the bat. What is your favourite Jackass stunt I can put a clip in of? And folks at home in the comments, let us know your favourite Jackass stunt, because this Wiki Weekends is largely an excuse just putting clips of Jackass, because I watched all of the Jackass movies recently.
One of the ones that isn't necessarily one of my favourites, but I have to mention straight away because just pure respect to Johnny Knoxville for doing it, the riot control test.
Oh, is that the one where it's so raw that everybody backs out immediately?
Everybody but Johnny Knoxville sees it and goes, nah.
Fuck that. Fucking Christ. That is great.
Yeah, so that leads into a great, I think it's a Rolling Stone article about Johnny Knoxville. It's called Johnny Knoxville's Last Ride. And it was basically, they did that in the lead up to Jackass Forever, where they're interviewing Johnny Knoxville. And they interview all of his friends and stuff, and they'll say, Johnny Knoxville is insane.
Are you insane? No. All you gotta do is stand there. Yeah, get killed. Look at that thing. That thing blew.
It's just loud. It's loud. It's gonna hurt really bad, but it's just loud.
He is legitimately insane. There is nothing that scares him. He might be one of the gnarliest dudes I've ever met. Nothing phases him. And that's something, when you watch the show, he laughs at everything, even the stuff that's, life-threatening, like the riot control test. When that goes off and you see Johnny Knoxville laugh, and then, just bam, you're fuck that.
Yeah, it's like, he laughs in a way that he's like, man, this is gonna fucking suck and I don't want to do it, but also let's go.
Yeah, how is it that Johnny Knoxville didn't, become one of the shortlisted actors to become the Joker, for example? Because he just does not care. And that's the thing, you'll see, they get hit by it and they're all in pain, and then he just looks at the camera and goes, is this bit good? Yeah, your face is fine. And that's, you're watching, and Johnny Knoxville just puts his hand in front of his face, and that's all he does. The guy's insane. And mine, this is the classic, it's air horn golf.
Oh, right, yeah.
It's because you can tell they've been doing it all day. Because when you get to the end of the stunt, you hear the air horn not go off properly. Almost like the air horn is stifling a laugh like them.
Watch this, wait.
He's down, wait.
I really enjoy the Jackass movies, and full respect to the entire crew for going through with it, but it does sound like one of the most harrowing on-set experiences of all time.
Because I've watched all the Jackass movies and also all the behind-the-scenes stuff. And something they talk about is, it's fun, initially, but it becomes the absolute worst 6 months of your life. Because everything can be a bit. And
you are never safe.
Cameras are always rolling, people are always there. There's always a chance that something can be a bit.
And I can't remember which one of the behind-the-scenes movies they show it, where it's each of them trying to prank each other on, the fake interviews.
Yes.
So they try and do, the moments where they do, the talking heads in the interviews, and every time it's you see them all on edge, just looking around where are you going to get me?
You ever seen as well, apparently you can't get Johnny Knoxville with that? Because they say Johnny Knoxville's like a fucking meerkat, or you can't get him because he's always aware. So but even though he's the one who's the most up for anything, he's the one they can't prank because he just knows.
Funny because even some of the cast, not even some of the crew, not necessarily the cast. For example, it's Jeremy Dunham, is it the head producer director?
It's not a name I'm familiar with, but I know they do get the there's Rick Kosick and stuff like that as well.
Yeah. I can't remember that all of their names, but I thought that was it for some reason. But
it's Jeff Tremaine. Is that the one you're thinking of?
Maybe that's the one I'm thinking of. Yeah, I don't know where that other person's
don't know
name
this
came
other
from.
random mysterious guy is.
I don't know who that is. But the fact that some of the actual crew members aren't safe either.
And when it comes to like producers and the crew, they don't do the bad things to them. And I remember watching one of like, the Jackass like 2.5 or something like that. They talk about how like one of the girls they have who works in the office is the jumpiest person they've ever met. And they just put a train horn in her office.
Oh, no.
It's just one of those things. It's such like a specific thing.
So Priya Swaminathan, who is head of development for our production company, is super jumpy. She gets scared so easy.
My God! I'm fucking quitting!
What happened?
I think it was really funny in the latest one, Jackass Forever, where the guy came in with his dad, and like the dad was almost like semi part of the cast, but
Dark
at
Shark.
one point,
That's his Dark Shark.
Like, they get him in a room, and he's just, there's a grizzly bear in with you. Sorry, you're locked in.
Fuck, dude, he tried to bite my hand. He's trying to bite my hand. He's trying to bite my hand. He's trying to bite my hand.
They just see what he does when he's just locked in a room with a grizzly bear. It's like, I didn't sign up for this.
So I think Dark Shark is one where they say, like, yeah, this guy is like, he's like a proper OG. Like, he's been shot and stabbed and he was in prison, but he's scared of flying. And he's the guy who say, we're going to get him to do a bungee jump. Oh, no, a bungee jump. We're going to get him to do like a base jump out of the plane. Well, then it's a prank on a prank. Which when, I love Jackass when they do the pranks on the prank. Because that's the thing that set them aside from like all the pretenders to the Jackass throne. Of like, they actually have some artistry to their pranks.
Yes.
Not all of them, but some of them do. And this is one where like he thinks he's gonna go up and like do like a skydive.
It was real quiet on that plane, aside from me mouthing off.
So he's like, he's shaking like a shitting dog the entire time. Well, then the prank on the prank is they just have the pilot run out of the cockpit as like a bunch of fake smoke goes off and jump out the back of the plane.
Some of my mom tell myself I'm gonna die today.
And they just pretend that the plane's gonna crash. It's like, that's so harsh. But he makes for such a good bit.
It is so unbelievably harsh, but again, like, they're all in on the bit.
I'm sorry, God. I'm sorry, God.
Yeah, and that's the thing as well. I think they have like everyone has a veto. They say there's like everyone has a veto, and you can use your veto at any time. But the next thing you might get asked to do is real bad. But they have that like camaraderie of no one's gonna ever be asked to do something that the person asking them wouldn't be willing to do themselves. And also there's some stunts that not everyone can do. I really do like how they take advantage of like the size difference between Wee Man and Preston. Like, they have really good prank chemistry. Like I think one of the ones is very simple. They do like the bungee jump where Wee Man bungee jumps with Preston.
Oh yeah.
And then Wee Man goes down, but then Preston falls off, and then Preston brings Wee Man back down.
One.
And I will say there are some people that just get it so much worse. Like I think it's Dave England that just gets it like real rough.
And do you know why that is? Again, they explain this in the behind the scenes thing.
Oh, isn't it because basically just whoever is like an asshole drunk on a night out gets it the roughest, and he's always the worst.
They say Dave England is a terrible, terrible drunk, and they'll say, and he says like, I know when I was a bit of a dick on a night out, because the next day I look at like okay, who's on for all the stunts today? And it's me. And he's like, you know what? Yeah, I was a bit of a prick last night.
Darf is when Dave is like blacked out drunk, and he's the worst. He's the worst of any of the guys. When he's drunk, he's the worst.
But speaking of the Jackass crew, Jackass is an American reality comedy franchise created by Jeff Tremaine, Spike Jonze, and Johnny Knoxville. It originally aired as a television series for 3 short seasons on MTV. And Spike Jonze is one of those weird creatives where I just thought of him as he's the Jackass guy, right? You occasionally see him on Jackass, you see him behind the scenes, like he directs and produces, and then but randomly he shows up and he's like the old woman. Do you know they do the old man and old woman?
Oh right, yeah.
Hi, my name's Kathy and I have a camel toe. Come with me on a day of adventure.
Do you know what else he directed?
I don't remember off the top of my head anymore.
Her.
Oh,
do
shit.
the Joaquin Phoenix movie, Her, and being John Malkovich.
I've just, like, two really, like, kind of insightful, quite artsy, weird films.
Yeah, but then he's a producer on Jackass.
Yeah.
The show features an ensemble cast of Johnny Knoxville, Bam Margera, Chris Pontius, Ryan Dunn, Steve-O, Dave England, Erin McGeehee, Jason Weeman Acuna, and Preston Lacey. And who is your favourite member of the Jackass crew?
I never really know, to be honest, because I think they're all, like, really endearing in their own ways. I might just have the most respect for Steve-O.
The way he's turned his life around and stuff.
And just the fact that he was always just, like, up for everything.
Yeah, which is because he was always drunk or high on drugs, which he himself would openly admit to. One of the things I really respect about Jackass, and I think, what sets it apart from the pretenders to the Jackass throne is that they are all good friends. And I think it's Jackass 3 is where Steve-O became teetotal and he sobered up. And in a sign of solidarity, every member of the crew didn't drink. Because previously, Jackass 1 and 2 had been sponsored by Miller Lite, and they had unlimited beer provided by Miller for all the thing. And yeah, okay, you can tell when you're watching some of those stunts, they're probably a little bit buzzed, if not a lot buzzed.
Yeah.
And just the respect, like, you know, they did all those, they were all sober for that third movie, but then they did all that shit without the aid of alcohol.
Yeah, and, like, shout out to all of them for doing that for Steve-O. Just shout out to Steve-O in general for, like, being able to do that, and, like, he now talks about, like, how much that's affected him, and he's a really good advocate for being teetotal and stuff.
And just, you know, just generally, like, for mental health and all that good stuff. And just the fact that, like, if Steve-O can do it, anyone can do it.
Yeah, and it's obviously a shame to, like, see what's happened with the whole, like, falling out with Bam Margera as well now.
Which we won't get too much into, because it's really sad. And it's
It
not
is.
like, you know,
Yeah,
we're here to talk about and celebrate the Jackass brand. And my favourite character is Chris Pontius. Not character, I guess he's playing a character, but I like Chris Pontius, and the behind-the-scenes stuff he gets away with not doing many of the stunts because he's just really funny.
And I love the gimmick of, like, the party boy.
Party boy is so good. Like, did you see when, like, to promote, I think it was Jackass Forever, or maybe it was one of, like, the movies Johnny Knoxville was in, they had, like, a Jackass-themed, like, wrestling match for the WWE, and, like, Chris Pontius turns up as Party Boy, and everyone in the crowd starts cheering because everyone loves Party Boy.
Yeah, because that must have been the one I've seen Steve-O talking about where they just actually beat the crap out of them.
Oh, yeah. Like, because none of them are proper wrestlers, but they told them, like, all the wrestlers had great respect for them because just, you know, they're really, you know, a icon of Americana at this point.
And of, like, stunt workers, right?
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, they say they're not stunt workers, but because a real stunt worker would know how to take the fall, they just take the fall.
They just get hit hard.
But I just adore, like, Chris Pontius, because just, if you watch the films and the show, and just listen out for some of his, like, little one-liners. Like, when they get the guy who, like, farts into a trombone, and it's like, you're finally bringing jazz back to the working man.
And I think it's Chris Pontius, I might be getting it wrong, who does one of my favourite bits of just making the little, like, upside down face with the fake little sword, and the scorpion comes in.
And he fights the
scorpion. I don't know
scorpion.
what gets me about that thing, but just that little clip of just him fighting off the scorpion with, like, his chin.
I am Pontius the Barbarian, and now the day has come to slay the foul beast, the devil's brethren.
It's just his scream as well. He's like, ah! Ah! He has, like, the really funny scream when he does it. Just Party Boy's the best. Like, when they go to Japan, it's like, goes to a fortune teller. It's like, I don't need a fortune teller. I know what my fortune is. It's partying.
I know what my fortune is. It's partying.
And I do love the party boy in Japan because they all look just so bewildered.
No one knows what the hell's going on yet.
Not at all, but I do find it funny seeing people's reactions, because a lot of the time people just enjoy Party Boy and join in.
That's the thing, most people just really like it, and that's the thing, I think, because Chris Pontius has a very good energy, and as do the majority of the Jackass crew. They just have a very infectious energy, and there's some of the stunts I can't watch. I'm not the biggest fan of, like, I'm going to call it body horror, because it kind of is. Like, some of the stuff involving bodily fluids, I can't watch that.
There's one in Jackass Forever that really got me.
Is it the sweatsuit?
The sushi sweat thing, where they, like, put sushi inside of the guy, like, wearing cling film, and get him to work out, and then eat the sushi off him.
Yeah, so I can't watch that. But, like, you know, and it does mention here that Jackass was controversial due to its perceived indecency and potential encouragement of dangerous behaviour. And even though every episode opened up with "do not try this at home," some of the stuff does look really fun. That's the thing. I don't want to, like, go throw myself off a building or get shot by a riot gun. But just like the ones where it'd be like, okay, we've closed off a road and we're going to go down it in a little wagon. That looked really fun. Is there any, like, stunts that you wouldn't mind taking part in, or that you would like to try for yourself?
There is the one where they do, like, the duck hunting.
Oh, that whack. And
they launch the people up into the air off the big, like, airbag and then shoot paintballs at them. I wouldn't necessarily want the paintball part, but I would always like to try out just that big, giant, like, airbag jump, just getting launched 50 foot into the air.
Whoa!
Yeah, or like I do like the mini loop as well that they did.
Yeah.
But they actually did it as well. That was like one of the first times that I'd ever been caught on camera. Like,
so don't they bring in a couple of ringers like Matt Hoffman and stuff like that to try it?
They get Matt Hoffman, and like a lot of the Jackass crew can skateboard, not to, like, you know, professional level, I guess. Except for
I think a couple of them were like, I was going to say Bam was a professional skateboarder, right?
Yeah.
Like,
you know, speaking of that, Lucas, let's delve into the origins of casting right now. In the late 1990s, aspiring actor and writer Johnny Knoxville had moved from Knoxville, Tennessee. So he's actually from Knoxville, and that's not his real name. I have it here. His real name is Philip John Clapp.
Oh, okay. I was quite excited about the prospect that he was actually called Johnny Knoxville from Knoxville.
Like, that's just his stage name. So he moved to Los Angeles, California, and landed working commercials in order to support his wife and infant daughter. And I'll try and track down any of those commercials. I bet they're really weird to look back on now. But the thing about Johnny Knoxville is, he's a very handsome guy.
Dentine Ice cools your breath twice. Freezer wrapped, freshly packed, delicious cold minty shell. Plus, a Sub-Zero chewing gum flavor that really puts your breath on ice. For a long, long time. Dentine Ice.
He is, yes.
He's a really, like, there was that rumor for years that he was related to Brad Pitt.
Oh, right.
Like, just because of, like, you know, he bears a striking physical resemblance to Brad Pitt. Something Brad Pitt himself acknowledged when he appeared in one of their stunts.
Hi, I'm Brad Pitt, and I'm gonna get abducted.
What just happened? What the Brad Pitt got kidnapped.
Yeah, and it's one of those things as well where you mentioned that he's got a wife and kids. And I'm like, yeah, fair enough. But thinking back to those early days of Jackass, where it's like on MTV, I'm like, how did any of these people have any family?
It's how did Johnny Knoxville have kids when one of, like, the first stunts he did broke his penis?
Oh.
Have you ever heard about, like, so there's that interview with Johnny Knoxville where he talks about his injuries, and it's like, you think of all the stuff that he's done, like all the crazy bullshit he's done, like he got into, like, you know, a fist fight with a professional heavyweight boxer, which leads to one of his best lines, like, is butter being okay? Which, like, you know, that saved that. There's a great bit where they talk about, like, that bit was really hard for them all to watch, and they legit thought they couldn't air it because, like, it's just kind of sad to watch Johnny Knoxville just get his face punched in by a professional heavyweight
annihilated
boxer. But then he saves it at the end by going, "Is butter being okay?"
Butter being okay?
But he talks about, like, the worst injury he had is probably the saddest one because of, like, how pathetic the stunt was, and it's where he tried to jump over, like, that 2 foot wide, like, waterway on roller skates.
Oh, yeah.
And he just fucked up the jump so much that he twisted and rolled his ankle and broke his foot.
At a 5-foot section of the LA River, and I'm super uncoordinated, and it ended with a broken ankle.
but also like Brocky's dick as well, apparently, in the process.
Wow. I mean, yeah, and you just think, though, like, you look at, say, for example, Steve-O shoving meat up his underwear and going over a, like, pool of crocodiles, and you think, how do any of these have anyone in their life that, like, they care for? Because they're asking for, like, they literally have a death wish.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because that also contains one of my favourite just lines in any of the bits of Jackass media that exist, where they have, like, their on-set animal expert, that Manny Puig, I think it is, where, like, so what should he do then if he's grabbed by an alligator? And he says, well, if the alligator grabs Steve-O, he should relax, let the alligator take him. It's like, I can't imagine worse advice. Not like, the advice might be sound, but just, okay, what do I do if the alligator grabs me? Relax and let him take it. That's not gonna happen.
If he falls and he lands near an alligator grabs a hold of him, Steve-O will relax, let the alligator take him, and hope that the alligator will
I don't care if I know it's like when people say, if you see a shark, don't panic, because the panicking will attract them. It's like, I'm sure that's how it works, but I'm gonna panic.
It's the same with make yourself big and, like, run at a bear or whatever they say.
Don't run away from a bear, yeah. It's like, I'm sorry, but I'm gonna run away from the bear, because it's a fucking bear.
The first 5 thoughts that are gonna come into my head are to run.
It's just like, you should let the alligator take him, and hopefully it'll let him go. But you also have a great line from Chris Pontius where he's lying down. It's like, then these alligators bother Steve-O, I'll wrestle them to the ground and probably have my way with them.
I'm Bunny the lifeguard. If any of these alligators try to ruin our swimming, I'm going to wrestle them down and probably have my way with them.
But, which is it, among his ideas for articles to produce was one that involved testing various self-defense equipment on himself as a homage to his hero, gonzo journalist Hunter S. Thompson. The magazines that contacted him refused to cover the story due to potential liability concerns. However, in 1996, Knoxville was contacted by Big Brother magazine, a skateboarding magazine for which Jeff Tremaine was an editor, and he convinced Knoxville to do the stunt and then film it. And this is one of the things that appeared in the first season of Jackass, and this is the self-defense test, and you'll notice that the quality of that skit is noticeably worse than the other skits in the show.
Well, I'm Johnny Knoxville, United States of America, and I'll be doing a little article on self-defense equipment.
Because it was filmed a couple of years earlier. And it's also edited to fuck, because the initial stunt involved Knoxville testing out pepper spray, a stun gun, a taser, and a gun.
Charge!
What the fuck?
And he tested the gun with a bulletproof vest. And the gun stunt was only included in a Big Brother video entitled Number 2.
Jesus.
And the gun stunt is, like, legitimately harrowing to watch. And I'm not sure if we can even put a clip in of it, because it's a guy shooting himself with a gun.
It's probably not suitable to be putting out there for violence sake.
And there were, like, for years, this was, like, rumoured to exist, because it, like, during the legend of Johnny Knoxville began to grow. And, like, you would hear about, like, during the early days of, like, the internet, when, like, Jackass was like, do you know there's, like, a secret Jackass stunt where Johnny Knoxville shoots himself with a gun? Obviously, video tapes of it existed, because it was released, but only in limited quantities, and those quantities were, like, they slowly diminished. It's like, they just went away, because physical media is not really a thing people stored. And then just one day, someone asked Johnny Knoxville about it. It's like, yeah, I did that. So, yeah, I did it. Because all the other members of the crew, like, kind of, like, pussyfooted around the idea. Because it's like, MTV did not want to air it. And they didn't want, like, just the concern groups to have any more ammunition, ironically enough. And John's like, no, I did it. And he even jokes, like, it was real stupid as well, because the bulletproof vest I bought was the cheapest one I could afford.
Holy shit.
Yeah. And it works. And the thing is, you see, he holds the gun at an angle as well. Because obviously he's got to shoot himself.
Yeah.
Wild. And it mentions that this featured an appearance by future Jackass cast member Jason Weeman Acuna. And it mentioned that other contributors to the Big Brother magazine at this time were Chris Pontius and Dave England. So this is how, like, it became, basically Big Brother was like the testing grounds for the Jackass crew.
Yeah, fair. It's kind of cool to see that you know, half of the crew was already there.
Yeah, essentially it was already fully formed. Speaking of which, they also had Rick Cosick, who became a cameraman, Sean Cliver, who became the show's main photographer, and Loomis Fall, who made recurring appearances throughout Jackass TV shows and films. And like, he's the guy as well who eats shit super hard in a bit where they don't even...
Oh, no.
Like, Joe, like, where they're doing, like, the jet stunt, which again is just super funny, like, just throwing, like, baseball and stuff into the back of a jet engine.
Oh, that one's incredible. Like, just the bit where I think it's Ryan Dunn is, like, sat in the chair and they do the bit, just blasting the jet in his face.
Which is one of the things I liked about Jackass, of, like, they just got access to things and went, okay, what can we do with it?
Mm-hmm.
Like, they got access to a jet and went, okay, what can we do with it? And one of the funny things about watching that skit is that you see them come up with new ideas as it goes on. So at first, like, you know, they throw, like, a football in there and try and catch it. And it just goes... and flies like 1,000,000 miles down, like, the field. And then Johnny Knoxville just randomly throws his shoe into it. And then all the members of the crew see how funny it is and start throwing shoes at it.
But I can't remember the name of the guy because he was only, like, guest starring every now and then. Mm-hmm. But the one where he just, like, holds the umbrella up into
Loomis.
the jet stream.
Yeah, that's Loomis, and he holds the umbrella and it completely shattered his shoulder. And
yeah, it makes it rough.
It makes it into the film, and I think at the end in the credits you see his, like, X-ray, and everyone's like, "Oh my god!" But he makes it into the film.
And some of the stuff, though, that is in Jackass, you know, 1.5, 2.5, that didn't make it into the actual movie.
You feel bad, right? And that's why those things got released, I think, because just sometimes they would do shit that would... I think it's Electric Avenue was a skit that never made it into a film, and that's where they just had, like, just tasers attached to ceiling fans in a room as, like, run down the corridor.
Did that one not make it into,
I don't think it made it into a 0.5, I think.
Because that one's rough of just, cattle prods and shit just flying around the corridor.
Yeah.
It's like, run through it.
But, you know, we've only covered, like, half of the crew, because the other half, so around this time, up-and-coming professional skateboarder Bam Margera was filming his family and friends from his hometown of Westchester, Pennsylvania, collectively known as the CKY crew. Short for... Do you know what CKY is short for, Lucas?
No.
Camp Kill Yourself.
Oh, shit.
These videos were ultimately compiled and released as part of the CKY video series. They featured stunts, pranks, and skateboarding in the cast that primarily included Bam, Ryan Dunn, Brandon DiCamillo, Rob himself, and Rake John, as well as members of the Margera family, including his mother, April, and his father, Phil.
Hello, sir. My name's Rick Magnolia. I'm from Channel 80 News, and I just want to know what everybody wants to know all over this county. Why you're doing things like this? Why are you wasting your time?
You've got to feel sorry for at some point.
Yeah. And okay, you know, you mentioned April and Phil. Favourite skit involving April and Phil?
It's got to be the one where they just lock April in with an alligator.
No,
she's like, what the fuck?
Well, Lucas, she should have followed the advice. Like, she didn't need to worry because she could just let the alligator take her, relax, and he'd let her go.
I think maybe the harshest one, especially because I think it's like in the middle of the night when his dad's got to work and he just does like the fireworks in the bedroom.
No, but Lucas, do you know what the funniest bit is? And it's the twist on the skit. It's when he gets into his car and then they do it again. That's what gets me. Is that you see him go into his car and you can tell he's fucking knackered because he just had this like a fireworks show off in his bedroom. And because you see him sitting in his car for a few seconds and you know before he hits the thing, you know he's just gone, all right. And then the fireworks go off.
Jesus Christ, man, I almost broke my leg getting out of there.
And they are very funny, but you also have to have that double-sidedness of I feel so bad for them, but at the same time, they know that it's worth the punishment because of how much money they're all getting out of it.
It is, yeah. And it's also, as well, I think they all understand it's for the bit.
Mm-hmm.
It's for the bit. And, that's like... And there's one last section of the crew that we've got to cover here, because you can see what happened here. Is like, skateboarders, Big Brother magazine was focused on like skateboarding and stuff. They all got into contact, but finally, after the MTV deal was inked, because they basically sent these videos that CKY made, like they used a lot of CKY songs on those early ones, such as Bam Margera's cousin, I believe.
Oh, right, okay.
So they could use a lot of their music for free. So they put those in, they sent it to MTV as like a sizzle reel. It got accepted. But Tremaine got in touch with periodic contributor to Big Brother, Steve-O, who was at the time working as a clown.
Yes, yeah.
Steve-O, he legit went to clown college.
And he knows how to do like crazy juggling skills and stuff like this.
Not as well as he probably could have done when he was sober. But he legit has clowning skills, which is really weird when you sometimes just every now and again he'll do a handstand and can walk on his hands. Or when they do the high jump, or when he's doing on stilts and he's able to do it.
Well, speaking of hands, Karl.
Yes.
We can't not mention the high five.
No, we do that. That's the best. We'll get to that in a moment, because we have one last thing. Sometime later, Dave England suggested they bring in his friend Erin McGeehee, a fellow Oregon resident and extreme stunt participant. Finally, Preston Lacey was the last person to round out the original cast, after he and Knoxville had previously worked together with Knoxville's ex-wife's clothing line.
Oh, okay.
Initially, Preston was asked to write for the show to come up with stunt ideas, but then Knoxville convinced Lacey to perform the stunts himself. It's one of those things, it's very just in the spirit of Gonzo journalism, like Hunter S. Thompson, of just very slapped together, very do it yourself sort of energy here. Yeah,
and that's what made the MTV show so endearing. Is just
you can there's a genuine enthusiasm and camaraderie amongst the cast that really bleeds through in the content.
And as well, it has that maybe a little bit higher than, but it has the feel of something that's like a homemade production.
Yes.
There's really no marks left. That's where you got me.
Just people trying to figure shit out as they go along.
Yeah, and it was largely inspired by skating videos, which were either a lot of the early stunts involved skating, because that's what Bam Margera was initially known for, of doing dumb skateboarding stunts to raise his profile and his brand.
It's like the boogie boarding stunt.
Yeah.
That they do, where they just put a boogie board on top of a skateboard and slingshot people on it.
Yeah, and that's the thing, it has a very homemade quality to it, but there's a genuine, as I said, camaraderie between the cast, and none of the things they do ever feel mean-spirited. They will do things that are mean, but the thing I always appreciate about watching Jackass, one of the reasons it's such a, it's a fun show to watch. I don't think there's many better experiences I've had than watching Jackass with a few drinks with friends. Is that they laugh as well.
I think the one time I feel really rough watching it is the one where they get Bam with the fake snakes into real snakes.
But that's really funny because of the twist on the stunt. So I feel back, set the scene, Bam Margera, terrified of snakes.
Absolutely terrified, yeah.
And it's, again, a very Jackass thing of a prank on a prank, where they have, throughout the film, they have this ongoing prank of the Rocky, which is, I think, is ingenious, where they take advantage of the phantom cam that they had, the super slow-mo cam, and the quote from Johnny Knoxville about it is, we're taking the camera they used to film Avatar and shoving it up Steve-O's ass. They throw water into your face, and then obviously your natural reaction is to turn your face away, then they punch you in the side of the head with a big box. Bam going up to do that to someone, but they put cardboard boxes over a hole, so he falls into a hole in the ground. So already he's like, oh, I've been pranked.
Oh, fuck!
Then he notices a bunch of rubber snakes, shits himself, realises they're rubber snakes. Oh, you got me again.
Get me the fuck out of here. You cocksucker. Dude, get me out.
Then they just start throwing actual snakes in.
Just entire boxes of snakes getting dumped on him.
Fucking with me. Hey, Bam. Bam. Dude, I fucking hate you guys.
It's like if they just like thrown a bunch of snakes at him, I'd feel bad. But it's the fact there's layers to the prank. You can see it build up, and then he gets relieved, and then he's scared again, then relieved, then scared again, and that build up is what makes it not feel as harsh.
You're coming up for getting out of there.
Stop me, man. Fuck, man. You're gonna make me have a heart. I'm seriously. Thank God I'm leaving at 3 today. I am counting down the minutes.
And part of the fact of, you know, he's going to punch someone in the face. Like, it's not as if he's completely innocent in any of this. That none of them are. They're all doing shit to one another.
Yeah, and that's the thing, like, you know, and you know that, you know, he probably got whoever did it back.
Mm-hmm.
Which, like I say, it's just the fact, even though it's a really dumb idea of, like, we're going to put a hole in the ground, which I think is, like, a joke they did in one of the earliest seasons. Like, I think it's something Bam did to his dad. His dad's on, like, the ride on Lawn Mower. They do the classic of dig a hole and put, like, a thing over it. But they don't dig a deep enough hole. So you just see his dad and he only goes, like, 1 foot in. But that somehow makes it funnier because of how pathetic it looks.
Order right now. Seriously, soon it's going to happen. I say within 4 minutes.
And that's the basic background of Jackass, and as for how it became the phenomenon that it did, just MTV aired the episodes. They were really, really popular, but it became even more popular on home video because the home video releasers could just put in all the extra material that MTV refused to air. For example, a lot of Steve-O's stuff was initially just not able to be aired because it was like, it was too dangerous or too disgusting, like him like just backflipping into elephant shit.
God.
Or they were worried that it'd be too easy for people at home to copy, like him just destroying his own home, like him just backflipping into his ceiling fan is one that I remember. But they could put those onto the home video releases and put that little thing on that people loved of never see too hot for TV or never before seen. Yeah.
It's like the uncut versions of the show, but
and that's what allowed them to get like a movie deal as well because they thought we'll just give them $2 million. It's not going to cost you a lot of money, but you'll probably get quite a bit of money back. And I believe every movie they made did make a profit. And had a big
I'm not surprised with like the first couple. The third one has so much production to it; it's insane.
And that's because like they had actual, real movie people working on it. Like Jeff Tremaine's a really good director. Spike Jonze producing, who's like he's been nominated for Academy Awards. Like he worked on Her.
And just they've got beautiful shots of like a dildo flying into someone's face,
filmed with a phantom camera.
Yeah, and it's like this absolutely beautiful production, and it's all been set up to like launch a dildo across the sky.
Which again is why I appreciate it, because it's not that they just shot a dildo at someone. It's that they went, okay, but how can we make it funnier? Like when they shoot the dildo out of the gun at someone, it's like they don't just do that. They have it like fly through a glass of milk in slow motion for no reason other than it'll look really cool and really funny.
Yeah.
And like Lucas, like you mentioned Jackass 3, I stop you from doing it. Let's talk about the hand.
Just the high five.
I think the high five might be the hardest I've ever laughed. And I remember it. I don't remember what film I was going to watch. I just remember that the trailer for Jackass 3 was just the high five stunt.
And that sold me on the movie.
That was it, yeah. And
I didn't need to be sold on it anyway, because I love Jackass, but yeah.
The trailer was literally just walking down the corridor, hey buddy, high five! Boom!
What's up, school? What's up, nerds?
Jackass 3 done. I'm sold. Second one. It's the hardest I've ever laughed.
Like, they get a couple of good shots in with the high five, with the hand, and some people are a bit precarious about it and kind of like notice it's come in. But the fact that Bam just goes completely horizontal.
I think the Bam one is so good because like he gets almost all the way into the room and he is completely unsuspecting. And it's the fact that Wee Man gets him with the "Sup man, high five." Like it feels like a joke from a scripted film. It's that perfect a moment, but it's completely genuine, which makes it even funnier.
What's up?
and I'm gonna chime in. High five!
And the fact that Pam goes completely horizontal, and the fact, if you watch the video back, he drops his burrito and it flies into the bin.
He got impeached.
Is that when you watch like Jackass Forever and like Eric Andre shows up and they say, oh yeah, you need to go get like a COVID test over there? He goes, oh, okay then. And they get him with like the giant inflatable door thing. And the fact, imagine getting Eric Andre.
Yeah.
Imagine pranking Eric Andre.
And I think he even said like that was one of the most terrifying experiences, is like all of a sudden he goes from like he's the one in control of his set on his show to just being vulnerable at all times.
Because they had the idea to get him when he's going for his COVID test.
And was it Eric was one of the people where they like blew up the portaloo on him as well?
Yeah, they blew up the portaloo and he comes out laughing, because of course you've got to come out laughing.
I fucking knew it. I knew it.
Yeah.
So he comes out and and that's the what's always the best thing about these shows. They always come out and they're laughing. And I've mentioned pretenders to the Jackass throne. I think the one that I could not fucking stand was Dirty Sanchez, which was like the British gritty version of Jackass. And it's just a bunch of knobheads pissing on each other.
Yeah,
and none of them like each other.
Focused on like the body gross out humor.
And as well, none of them laugh. It's really mean-spirited.
Yeah. And I think you've got to mention just the weird body gross out stuff. The fact that in Jackass Forever, the way that they like trialed out the newbies was with like the hot sauce up the bum.
Oh yeah. Well, I remember,
and it's like that was day one for them.
Well, they said like one of the things they wanted to, the reason they were inspired to make the film is like apparently just every couple of months after Jackass 3, Johnny Knoxville would call them saying, "You guys want to make another No, hang up." That's what just every few months Johnny Knoxville would call them and they'd hang up immediately. And they said during COVID though, when they got to hang out for the first time again, they bumped into Johnny Knoxville and he stopped dyeing his hair because he'd been grey since he was 20 apparently. And he just he'd stopped dyeing his hair. And like, man, you look old. And he's like, I've still got some, there's still so much fight in the dog left. Like, go on, show it then. And they just filmed some random shit around the houses. And it was still funny. And I thought, if it's still funny and we're still laughing, we've probably got one more in us.
And I do think that explains it for me, because, yeah, like, it was a couple of years, and obviously COVID happened and everything was stressful in life, but Johnny Knoxville went from all black hair to just completely white grey.
Yeah.
In like one appearance.
And I think you just said it, it's in that that Rolling Stone article I mentioned, like Johnny Knoxville's last ride. He talks about, I've been grey the entire time. But,
and he looks really good for it, to be fair.
Well, I say he's a really handsome guy. It's just so wild that that's what he made his money doing. I said there was legit theories that he was related to Brad Pitt for a while.
Yeah, like he could have quite easily been a model or something.
Well, he was. He was like, he was doing money for advertising. We decided, what I'm going to do instead? Just shoot myself in the face with a gun. And yeah, just what a fantastic series. Like, let us know your favourite Jackass stunt in the comment section below. If you'd like to, continue the conversation, you can do so on the Discord, also link below. I've been your host, Karl Smallwood, joined as ever by Lucas Holland.
Hello there.
And just go out there and have the day you deserve, and don't be a jackass.